Hello and a warm welcome to Federal's Result Day Live. And we did a program in the afternoon where we were discussing the shock and horror which is coming out of the Haryana results. Nobody had expected that Congress will lose the election, though they are still saying that they are in the fight. But BJP seems to be leading and leading, almost about 48 to 50 seats. And what is the reason for Congress's poor performance? Everybody is thinking, where have the people got it wrong? The pollsters, the reporters, the journalists who went to the ground, they were not able to sense what was really happening. Now, what are those factors which have helped really to which have helped BJP to secure this kind of a win? Now, a short while back, Jairam Ramesh had held a press conference, and what he said in Hindi was that "Ye tantra ki jeet hai, loktantra ki nahi." What he meant was that it's the election machinery which has secured the victory of the BJP, but it is a defeat of the democracy. The democracy has lost, and this is what he had to say. He's also blaming the EVMs, that they were like 99% charged, and there was some problem in the EVM. That also he was trying to point out. And just in a short while from now, what we are told is that Prime Minister Modi will address the party workers at the BJP headquarters. So we'll try and see what he says. But people are still recovering from the shock factor, as to how Congress has really lost this election. What are those factors? And will Congress really learn its lessons? That is the biggest question now, because a short while back I was listening to Devendra Fadnavis, who said that just as we have won Haryana, we are going to win Maharashtra. That is what he had to say. So let's delve straight into the discussion. Joining me now is Puneet Nicholas Yadav, Senior Editor with the Federal. Thank you so much, Puneet, for joining. We have Anil Tyagi, very senior journalist and political commentator, and who has a strong footing on Haryana and Punjab elections. Thank you so much, Anilji, for joining. We have Siddharth Sharma, who's an independent media analyst. Thank you so much for joining. Prasenjit Biswas, who's worked with the election surveys. Thank you so much, Prasenjit. And we have Professor Ajay Gudavarthi from Jawaharlal Nehru University. Thank you so much, Ajay, for joining. And let me begin with Puneet Nicholas Yadav. Puneet, what is your feeling now that Congress has got this election wrong? Have they been able to gauge as to what are the factors? Because some of the Congress leaders are saying that, we knew it. And that those are the kind of voices which are coming. So if they knew that, this kind of a result was coming their way, why didn't they wake up early?
Well, clearly, if they knew it and did nothing about it, then it's for their party leadership to ask them, why were they keeping this knowledge to themselves and not doing anything for the party. But having said that, I think as of now, the general reaction within the party is of denial and shock and horror and this complete surprise on what went wrong. What I'm given to understand, of course, I've spoken to several of these of the party leaders, both from Haryana and at the AICC, and now the usual SOP is being rolled out, where they're going to question the election commission, they're questioning the counting procedure, they're raising fingers at the tantra and the prashasan, so to speak. But yes, certainly, and of course, as is the Congress's tradition, they've talked about setting up another committee to look into another poll route. This is like standard operating procedure in the Congress. They keep losing elections, then they keep forming committees to look into the causes of defeat. What those committees do, what kind of recommendations they give, nobody comes to know. And when the next election comes, it seems that none of those committee recommendations have been implemented either. So one doesn't really know where that really stands. But having said that, the other issue here also is that, yes, to some extent, it would be wrong to say that there wasn't an inkling at all within the Congress. It's just that inkling of things not going their way came in very late. And this is something that some of the leaders had pointed out to me earlier as in like before today. And then they kind of reaffirmed it today after the counting started, that they did have a sense that particularly in the uh, so to speak, the non-Jat belt or the non-Jat dominated constituencies, and within those, especially constituencies where either the Dalits hold sway or there are, there's a combination of Dalits and OBCs that hold sway over this. The Congress is kind of sliding, and this had kind of been communicated to the leadership, which was one of the reasons why Rahul Gandhi was, asked to make, like step in at the last minute with this yatra that they did from Ambala and Kharkhoda and, these areas, some of which were, of course, the SC reserved seats, and others which weren't exactly the Jat belt constituencies, So there was that, but I think by the time they rolled out that, that kind of damage control or whatever you want to call it, it was already too late, or at least that is what today's result shows. So maybe, their intelligence was faulty or delayed at least. And uh, as I said earlier in the day, it was just too much of overconfidence, over reliance on Bhupinder Hooda. Of course, Anilji will explain this in greater detail and he'll correct me if I'm wrong. But if you look at Bhupinder Hooda and the Congress in Haryana, if you look at them as one unit, Bhupinder Hooda has never been able to deliver Haryana to the Congress on his own steam. It's a myth that Bhupinder Hooda is the stall leader who, like I was hearing some other commentator, on a different platform saying Bhupinder Hooda is the only Congress leader in the country who will put his hand on somebody, and, even if that somebody is a nobody electorally, he can win because he's got Bhupinder Hooda's blessings. I think, this kind of myth creation around political leaders is what ultimately becomes the undoing of their party. If you look at 2005, when Hooda became the chief minister for the first time, the mandate in Haryana was not for Bhupinder Hooda. He was paradropped as chief minister. 2009, when he led the re-election campaign, the Congress did not get an absolute majority. It did not even get a simple majority. It was a hung house, and then he had to break away some MLAs here and there. And 2014 he failed. 2019 he failed. 2024 he has failed. I'm not saying that if they had replaced Hooda with somebody else, the scenario would have been different. What I'm saying is that putting all your eggs in that one basket is not the right policy for the Congress. They need not just Jat consolidation, and I'm not even including the Muslims, because the Muslims are limited to a few, in terms of the voter sway that they have or the electoral sway they have. They're limited to very few seats in Haryana. So in the overall scenario, they don't really matter as much. So the Congress needs a Jat plus formula. Now that plus can be Dalits, that plus can be OBCs, that plus can be, a combination of some Dalits, some OBCs, but they need more than just the Dalit votes to cross that final hurdle of the last 10 seats. So 35 seats, yes, maybe Jat consolidation can get them. But to go beyond that, they need more. And for that, Hooda is not the right person, which is something that the Congress has refused to realize over the years.
Right. So, as we are speaking, I'm seeing the visuals of celebration at the BJP party headquarters. All the leaders are waiting for the Prime Minister to arrive. 7:30 is the time when he's expected to address the party workers. So the BJP flags rolling all across. Those are the visuals coming across the TV channels. Coming to you, Prasenjit, now that what Puneet said, that Congress seemed to have put all the eggs in Hooda basket. Probably there were a few strategies which they might have got it wrong. But if I were to ask you that, just list out 2 3 reasons why people are saying that it's a stolen mandate, especially people like Jairam Ramesh, Pavan Khera. They are like, it's like passing the buck onto something. Would it be right to say that the mandate for this election has been stolen. Yes, Prasenjit.
Yeah, a mandate is stolen only when you can see that the anti-incumbency had stopped at a certain level or it was made to stop. After 10 years of Congress rule, the overall impression that various segments of society in Haryana has got is that they were not even ready to come to vote. The voting percentage fell in the areas near Delhi, you can see. In the rural areas, voting percentage didn't fall. Now you see in the urban areas, BJP has kept its forte intact. They haven't lost in the urban areas much, except in Rohtak and in certain select pockets. But in rural areas, you see, you can see generally BJP could not do very well and their winning margin was not very high. And the other reason that one can notice is a large number of independent candidates and they have spoiled, everyone's prospects. You can see the smaller parties, BSP getting 1.82% vote, Indian National Lok Dal getting 4.14% vote, others, all independents combined, getting around 12% votes, you see. These votes have been, in a sense, around 20% of the total votes that are cast are actually split in a manner that in the first past the post, Congress falls short. And you can see...
Sorry to interrupt you. JP Nadda has reached the party headquarters. I'm just informing the viewers who are hooked onto the Federal for the live because we can't show those visuals. But Amit Shah has reached, party president JP Nadda has reached, and Prime Minister is about to arrive. And the pictures show that Amit Shah is receiving the bouquet from the party workers. And Prime Minister, what he has said is that we will continue to work for the welfare of J&K. Yes, back to you, President. You continue, please.
Yes. So the pitch for having an united coalition against BJP somehow got weakened because of the presence of independent candidates, rebel candidates of Congress, and BJP rebels couldn't do much except in 1 or 2 seats. So BJP was effectively able to control its rebels while Congress was not able to control its rebels. They have taken away Congress votes. And then this public display of a kind of a inner fight between Shailaja and Bhupinder Hooda and their camps is something that has impacted so-called swing votes. The votes that were swinging towards Congress have suddenly relapsed back to BJP, thinking that, well, if Congress party is a disordered house, how can we vote and how can we ensure stability in Haryana? And this is a reigning thought, even among the middle classes, among the farmers as well. Then there is this caste equation, Jat versus Jata and other OBCs, So there is a reverse polarization that has happened in at least 25 seats. And you can see it across Haryana, especially in the seats which are close to Uttar Pradesh and the other northern states. Not so much close to Rajasthan. You can see a whole segment near Rajasthan has gone towards Congress and the other opposition parties. So therefore, the important factor is this caste division. The Dalits votes have got totally divided. That's one thing that one has to notice. At least 25 to 35% in a broad range, Jat votes have been swung and distributed in various independents and other smaller parties. Now, what Congress is left with, within that, Congress has done very well, 39.9% vote, 0.09% vote, as opposed to BJP's 39.94% vote. It is because of this vote cutting and the presence of large number of vote cutters that Congress could not contain. It was beyond the capacity of the Congress party because the tantra was not with Congress. It's the state bureaucracy, administration, and also election commission turning a blind eye to the complaints of graft and other things. These irregularities have badly damaged a rising Congress. Although anti-incumbency was really very high, there was an andhi for Congress, as some people had noticed. So you can see the whole strategy of BJP was to bring down the anti-incumbency and split the votes. So vote splitting seemingly is a paradigm case in case of this particular Haryana election, which was not the case in Lok Sabha election. Votes could not have been split in Haryana the way it has been split in assembly. So
Right.
therefore, at a micro level, BJP was able to split the votes, and that
Right.
they have done by using certain Ram Rahim, for example. Wherever Ram Rahim has campaigned, you can
Yes.
see the impact of Ram Rahim and his team's campaign. The Dera Sacha and their declaration that they are going to vote for BJP has impacted the Dalit voters as well as Gujjar voters and certain other segments of voters, those who are attached to Ram Rahim's cult, though they are not belonging to the Sikh as a faith. So therefore, you can see here, except Muslim, a large section of Jat vote, and a few OBC and half Dalit votes. Congress didn't have a very strong voting coalition, and that is because caste became an important factor. It is a capillary factor, and in a micro way, it has moved away from Congress in a little segments, and therefore Congress has lost, not in a major margin, but in a minor margin, Congress has lost. So it's not really BJP's victory in terms of its policies, social policies or anything, because it's not a positive vote for BJP. Indeed, the votes that moved away from BJP or the voters who have moved away from BJP is a significant segment who are
Yes.
still wondering how this result has happened. Yeah.
You pointed out some significant points, and Siddharth, I'll come to you now. That if this election doesn't belong to BJP, despite the fact that they've got a majority, if this election doesn't belong to Congress, what are the broad contours of this election? The message which Haryana election has sent out today, Siddharth.
Well, today the elections were not just in Haryana, but Haryana and Jammu Kashmir. We cannot forget that. And taken both of them together, two state elections, the BJP vote share in Haryana is around 40% and around 26% in Jammu Kashmir. That makes it 66%. That is a very clear indication in India that today an average Indian psyche, at least in Haryana and Jammu Kashmir, in the northern regions of India, he tilts 33% of the people tilt towards centralization of power, which the BJP represents, and nearly 66% of the people, that is two-thirds of the people, tilt towards decentralization of power, that is anti-BJP. Now, as far as Haryana is concerned, I think you can approach an election in two ways. A political party usually approaches an election in two ways. Either they press the pain points of the people, or they play on the aspirations of the people. One is a negative negative campaign that they raise, that there are certain pain points of the people and let us highlight them. Another way an election is fought is that you try to play upon the you try to encourage the aspirations of the people. I think what Haryana, we have to understand that in Haryana there are less pain points and more aspirations in an average Haryanvi. When I'm saying average Haryanvi, it does not mean that there are sections of the people in Haryana who are marginalized. There are Dalits, there are backward people, but when I'm saying when an election is fought, it's fought on certain LCMs, the lowest common median. What in Haryana is that average Haryanvi is more aspirational than facing pain, because we know that Haryana per capita income is one of the top five in India. Haryana, even women of Haryana win medals in Olympics. So there are certain things in Haryana that makes the people aspirational. Now, a state which does not have hunger as an issue, which does not have wealth creation as an issue, that does not have employment as such a huge issue. I accept that employment is an issue in certain segments, but I'm again saying I'm raising it above the taking it below the LCM level. Where hunger is not an issue, wealth creation is not an issue, employment is not an issue, where these kinds of issues are not present, what is the issue that is present? I think social status is an aspirational issue. Upward mobility is an aspirational issue. Upward mobility on the social ladder. And therein, I think BJP symbolically gave the Haryanvis aspiration that I can bring in a Khattar who is not a mass leader and give him chief ministership. I can bring in a Nayab Singh Saini who is not a mass leader and make him a chief minister. So I think where the India Alliance, or especially Congress in Haryana, it was Congress basically which was fighting BJP. I think Congress missed the bus wherein they started playing on the pain points of the people. Pain points. I agree that there are pain points. There are farmer issues in Haryana. There are women issues in Haryana. There is employment issue in Haryana. But these issues pertain to a certain different segments of the people. It's not a pan Haryana issue. A pan Haryana issue, I think, is an aspirational issue. And if Congress had gone in with some kind of positive campaign, for example, saying that I think Congress came up with a lot of schemes. It missed the bus in the sense that it could have come up with a scheme which said that if we come to power, we will empower the local panchayat levels. Panchayat ka jo pradhan hota hai, we will give them certain funds. So I think those kind of aspirational upwards mobility on the social ladder, I think Congress missed the bus here. In fact, between BJP and Team India better understand that. 4 months ago, the Lok Sabha election results, right now, the Haryana and Jammu Kashmir results, the trend is very clear. 1/3 of India wants some kind of centralized power structure. 2/3 of India clearly rejects these kind of power structures and goes for decentralization. For example, in Jammu Kashmir, you can find so many parties coming up with. In fact, in Jammu Kashmir, not a single party has come with a majority, although there is a coalition with between Conference and Indian National Congress and the National Congress of Kashmir, but no single party has a majority in Kashmir. Even a party like Aam Aadmi Party has a seat. Even CPI has a seat. Independents have 7 seats. The PDP has seats. So that clearly goes on to show that India, 2/3 of India tilts towards decentralization, and Team India, if they start mathematically in an electoral sense, um, uh, forming a coalition with a slogan that decentralization is our forte, I think it is easier to defeat BJP on that wicket.
Right. Now, Professor Ajay Gudavarti, post Lok Sabha elections, the only narrative which was being built was that apparently the Modi factor is losing its sheen. Now, after winning Haryana and the third consecutive victory, the kind of visuals I'm seeing at the BJP headquarters, and they are calling it Vijay celebration, and that kind of a narrative now which is being built. Do you think that Modi is back in the reckoning? I mean, the narrative which was there that Modi somewhere is losing the sheen, he's losing the grip of the party. There were stories about how there was a face-off between RSS and Modi. Of course, there was no official confirmation on that, but there were source-based stories which everyone was reading. So, if I may ask you, is Modi back in the reckoning, Professor Ajay?
No, I think Nilu will have to somewhere move beyond these very generalized explanations. I think one of the lessons that we really have to learn from Haryana elections is that the micromanagement of the BJP in terms of very micro issues is what I think is driving the elections. I think these broad factors that we think of in terms of whether Modi matters or mostly what pollsters have been doing anti-incumbency. This is again a very, very vague term that what does it mean? What does anti-incumbency mean? So I think this should also give us a clue that we should put an end to exit polls. I think lots of wastage of public time and money in these exit polls. They
No,
get
but
next
Professor,
to nothing.
no, but when you call it micromanagement, now BJP's micromanagement is like, going, at the bottommost level, pitching one against the other, like urban versus rural, then, pitting one caste against the other. Now, and which Congress calls it that, you're trying to divide the society. You are trying to put in hatred and sow the seeds of hatred in the society. So, would Congress ever get into that kind of micromanagement?
Exactly. That is the key issue, I think. I think all these, instead of those broad factors, I think what BJP with the backing of RSS has learned is that Indian society is divided at multiple levels. There are micro fissures that are operating at multiple levels. BJP and RSS have a hold on how those fissures are actually working. So if you look at Haryana, they began with a non-jat consolidation. I mean, a issue like farmers' issue is a very sectoral issue. It is having absolutely no impact on other sections. On the contrary, today I was speaking to a journalist who traveled crisscrossed Haryana and himself being a Jat journalist. He said that he found in non-Jat areas a certain kind of a celebration in the way Jat farmers and Jat women were treated under the BJP regime. So this is something I think new. I think the way those fishers are being exploited, people are being told to rejoice in somebody else's downfall is I think something new that so there is nothing new anybody is getting. This is also a comment on the Congress that you have created such kind of hopelessness that the only rejoice people are left with is in terms of enjoying somebody else's downfall, and BJP has perfected that art of what to do with those fissures. I think micro issue, constituency wise micromanagement, within OBCs they know which sections of OBCs they can split. Within Dalit, it's no longer just Dalit for BJP. They subdivide Dalit into various groups. They have cross purpose, urban, rural, they have different variables. So they, I think, are operating at a much micro level, both in terms of their organizational heft and in terms of social calculation. Congress is completely out of depth. Congress is working still in these old vague categories of anti-incumbency, Jat, single leader, Rahul Gandhi wave, Bharat Jodo, and that's not certainly working. And certainly the issues other panelists have pointed out, the hopelessness of Congress organizational culture. One of my friends met Mr. Rahul Gandhi and he highlighted this factor to him, saying that, the organizational culture of Congress needs to be mended if Congress is to be back in the reckoning. And Rahul made a very interesting analogy. He said, चलती हुई एसी को मैं कैसे ठीक करूं? एसी अगर बंद है तो कोई रिपेयर कर सकता है, ये तो चलता हुआ मशीन है, इसको कैसे कोई ठीक कर सकता है? So this internal organizational culture, and imagine this internal organizational culture, pitch it Nilu against a personalized campaign of the BJP. It gives a very personal touch, a paternalistic touch by Mr. Modi, who takes responsibility, who communicates directly to people, who gives guarantees against a faceless, completely divided Congress, which doesn't look responsible, and people have no reason why they should put their faith in a party that is not able to hold itself together. I think today the factors that are mattering on the ground for electoral have changed, and we need to shift that focus into see that as a question that we raised, what is that Congress can do in terms of this micromanagement, internal organizational culture, and organizational left are the new questions which unfortunately Congress has not learned a lesson in 10 years.
Absolutely. Now, let me come to Mr. Tyagi towards the end. Mr. Tyagi, and just in a short while from now, I think Prime Minister Modi will be addressing the party workers. He still hasn't reached the party headquarters yet. Mr. Tyagi, now, how would you really see this Haryana election result? In terms of the reasons why Congress has lost, what has gone wrong in terms of the leadership? As Puneet was saying that, all the eggs were put in Hooda's basket. There were reports of factionalism between Kumari Shelja and Bhupinder Hooda. Now, did Congress see all this? Did Congress realize that, these were the internal problems with which it has to grapple first, and then, and BJP just simply seems to have walked over all this?
Nilu, our learned friends have spoken very well and explained the issue. That appears to be a little more academic discussion, but the politics on the ground is very cruel, very lethal, and that lethalness we have seen on the ground in the Haryana, and the facade of the Narendra Modi did not work, and what worked is the management of Amit Shah and ticket distribution, 22, 25 new faces, and dividing every sector and section of the society, and having an alliance with the BSP of the Abhay Chautala and JJP's Dushyant Chautala, the Chandrasekhar Raman, and the freedom fighter, our great Arvind Kejriwal on the Punjab side, because he wants to liberate Haryana by putting 18 or 90 candidates there across the Haryana. I'm very sarcastic. You must be smiling, and Puneet is smiling about my words, but that was unfortunate part. So what BJP has done, we are analyzing. BJP has done virtually dividing the caste, subcaste, subcaste, subcaste. And technically, they offered Shailaja that you join BJP. Though Manohar Lal Khattar knew it, she will not join. But I understand that Kiran Chaudhary and Naveen Jindal and all that company must have been in touch with Shailaja. Shailaja did drama, and Shailaja knowingly did drama because they did not want to see Bhupinder Hooda and his son Dipinder Hooda to carry on the legacy for the next 5 years and to eliminate the trio of the Surjewala, Shailaja, and Chaudhary Birender Singh. So that must have been the reason. And obviously, that is the reason because in Haryana, we have seen it. So they just smashed in politics. You know what happens is it's not important that you come into the power, but you see is who is your rival, and if he becomes more powerful, he will finish you. It is a fight to finish for the life. You know it happens everywhere. Oh, as Akhilesh Yadav has finished Shivpal Yadav, his own uncle. Huh? Politics is very ruthless. We have seen in Mulayam Singh Yadav's career. Mulayam Singh Yadav did not allow minimum 100 Yadavs from that area to come on the limelight. He finished everybody. So that is the nature of the politics. So they have done it. Otherwise, how come a BJP sponsored channel Aaj Tak invited Shelja? Shelja could have had the press conference in the AICC and declaring that I am not going anywhere. That would have been the much easier job. But no, she chose Anjana Om Kashyap to go and interview and declare that was very well planted. You see, I will request every member of this panel to see that interview, how it was between the lines, every question was asked and how it was conveyed. Second thing is that one of the panelists pointed out very important point. I agree. If you recall, Navjot Singh Sidhu was fighting in Punjab. Then they brought Channi there as a chief minister. In Punjab is a very typical state. Punjab's Jat Sikh can never tolerate a Dalit to be their boss. Same thing happened and it boomeranged on the face. BJP played that in the Haryana through Shailaja. And another mistake they did it, they brought Ashok Tawar, who is a relative of the Ajay Makar. And because Jat, who was going unblocked with the Congress, the moment they thought that the Shailaja can be the chief minister, they partly shifted to the BJP. That is the thing. Second thing is that Congress ticket distribution was not in line and in tune with basically what Rahul Gandhi wanted. You see, one must understand Rahul Gandhi has matured, has come a long way, but still he is the prince of the party. He behaves like a prince, and the aura and the coterie which is has surrounded him, they treat him like a prince. If you happen to meet him sometime, or people who have met him, they brief us that how he is very good and he is a good human being. But by nature of his family association or genetically upbringing, he cannot come out and he is not able to come out from that mess. I will explain you 17 seats which Congress has lost knowingly. Kalka margin of the winner was 11,000. Rebel, who fought the election, was 32,000. Pundri, Congress candidate, came third. Rebel got the 40,000 votes. Rai margin of the victory was 4.5 thousand. Rebel got 12,000 votes. Safido margin of the victory was 4,000. Rebel got 29,000 votes. Dadri margin was 2,000. Rebel got 6,000 votes. Tigaon, Congress came third. Rebel got 57,000 votes. He lost by 37,000 votes. Ambala Kent, Chitra Congress came third. Chitra got 53,000 votes, and Chitra was asking for the ticket. Can you believe it? She could have defeated Anil. Hmm. Asan, margin was 2,000 for the victory, and Rebel got 16,000 votes. Uchana Kala, margin 39 votes only. Oh, Rebel got 32,000 votes. Badada, margin was got 75,000 votes, and Rebel got 27,000 votes. Mandargarh, margin was 2,000. Rebel got 21,000. Sona, margin was 11,000. Rebel got 70,000 votes. Ballabgarh, Congress came fourth. Ballabgarh is just 30 kilometers away from Delhi. And then the Rebel got, say, around 17,000 votes. Dabwali, margin was 610 votes. Rebel got 2,000. Though Dabwali, Congress has won. I'm just telling you. Rania, where Ranjit Singh, Dada Pota, the grandson and his grandfather. Margin was 4,000. Rebel got 36,000 votes. Bahadurgarh, the Rajendra June, who was given the ticket at the advice and the recommendation of Robert Vadra, the Rebel candidate, Congress came third. Rebel candidate, independent won, and the margin was around 15,000. That is the scenario, 17 seats I have explained to you. This is the crux. This is the internal dynamics of the Congress party. It is not that the BJP has done quite a surprising thing or unprecedented thing. They just calculated the number 22 seats, which were there from 600 to 3,000. They focused on those 20 seats and they have won comfortably. Second thing, they divided the whole state and the caste, subcaste, and the other things. Fourth, they pumped money. One constituency, Bashapur, the chap has won from the Narbir Singh, 100 crores. That is the style of the thing. But apart from that, moral of the story of this Haryana election is people have got the government what they desire. That is the mirror of the people. But ultimately, what is how it can be for last 10 years, they have beaten farmers, the students, women, Panchayat Pradhan. Still the BJP is winning. There is no miracle. This is just a deceit with the state. This is a treachery with the state, I tell you. And people will regret by electing the BJP. Though I am not saying Congress would have been done wonders. But the regime change is the necessity for better reforms, better delivery mechanism. That is the thing. Now the delivery mechanism will not be there because the 15 municipalities and 11 sub-municipalities and one cantonment in 10 years will collapse because BJP do not have a governance agenda. That is a problem.
Right.
I have traveled all the 90 constituencies last year. I have seen every town. Bhiwani, can you believe it? That chap has won third time, and Bhiwani you can't walk. It stinks, Sirsa, the river, Ghaggar river is contaminated. There are cancer patients. There are no primary schools. Many schools have been closed. So the three things, the school, public health, and the employment will be missing. All municipalities will collapse. Though this is going to be country pan-India, 189 bigger municipalities will collapse in 10 years because we do not have a municipal administration system across the country. That is going to happen. But ultimately, BJP has won. The people who has won the election, they should be given congratulatory message that you have won to ruin the state. Congratulate. Thank you.
Okay, strong words coming from Anil Tyagi, but I think we'll have to wind up the show. And the visuals, what I'm seeing is that Prime Minister Modi still hasn't reached yet. There are
no, he will come at 8 o'clock.
No, initially I think he was about to address the party workers at 7:30, but now I'm told yes, it's going to be 8. So the leaders are waiting, and we'll have to wait and watch what Prime Minister Modi says. But yes, a lot of learning lessons, and we'll have to also watch out as to what the ripple effect of this Haryana victory will be on Maharashtra and Jharkhand as well. I'll have to end it here. Thank you so much, Anil Tyagi, Prasenjit, Sajay Godawardi, Siddharth, Puneet, thank you so much for joining. Thanks.